Here we are. Hi, Sherry. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Hi. I am very good. I am very good. And you are all the way in New Mexico. So you're going to fade in and out just a little bit. I won't make any jokes about Area 52 or aliens or any, but your video is fading in and out, but your voice is coming across loud and clear. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Yes.
That sounds really good. All right. So, okay. So here is my friend, Sherry Woodard. We've known each other a few years now. And first thing I want to ask you about is CBDT-KA. What in the world does that stand for?
Well, it's a professional certified dog trainer and it's knowledge assessed is the KA.
What do
And
you mean?
I what do I mean?
Yeah.
There's a certification council, and I took my first certification test, ooh, a long, long time ago. And then you renew your credentials every 3 years.
Hmm.
Um, and they're still certifying people all across the country. You go in person for that first test, and then you can recertify online. Um, and it's really nice because you actually know that people that are certified and are recertifying are actually they're at least taking a test, and recertifying means that you're going to conferences, you're continuing to accrue, continuing to collect the continuing education credits. You're not just saying, I learned 30 years ago or, 20 years ago how to train dogs by reading one book.
And so how can
Which
people find, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Which what? Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, which I think a lot of people were doing is just saying, I'm a dog trainer, and it really didn't mean anything to say you were a dog trainer if you weren't certified, if you didn't have some sort of credentials.
Mhm.
Um, Nor did it mean anything to say that you went to one workshop. Um,
Mm.
Now I think it means more that you have continuing education.
I think
And
that's
I
important, right? Continuing
Oh
education, and then
yes,
you've got your lateral people that you can confer
yes,
with,
and
and yes.
friends. Yes.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think it's really important to have friends you could call and talk with and say, what do you think about this? What does this sound like to you? Or send videos and say, this is what it looks like. And share your cases. And
Mm,
the same with us and veterinarians. And
mhm.
to be able to run things by other people is a huge help. And that's how you make more friends. So, yes, you're continuing to share information, grow your circles, and stay apprised of new things as they come out, which is, I think, a very exciting part of um, any field. But certainly when it comes to training and behavior, being connected is a big part of it.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. It's like a network where, and let me be honest. If I'm over my head, I'm going to call somebody and say I'm out of ideas, or I've tried what I know. I don't have anything left in my toolkit. And so, what would you do? How could you help me with this particular case? I too. I think that's massive. And what we're talking about is professional dog trainers. That it is, I understand, I believe it's the foundation from the Association of Professional Dog Trainers, APDT. Is that right? It's the foundation that does the certification. I know it's a different branch. What?
It's actually a separate certifying board that handles all the
Oh,
testing.
oh, okay.
So the testing is completely separate, so that um, the board might come up with all of the questions, and actually even the people taking the test help come up with the questions, but the
Mhm.
certifying board is separate. So
But
the
what
the
I love,
testing is
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, and what I love about APDT is the Association of Professional Dog Trainers. What I love about them is that they are inclusive. They are. they've been around for a long, long time. They have thousands and thousands of members that are working towards certification, or they're just curious. It's like me being part of IAABC. Oh, help me, International Alliance of Animal Behavior something.
Consultants. I
Yeah,
believe
okay, there
it's
you go.
consultants, but
There you go. So I'm
we better get it
yeah.
right.
IAABC. I just, I go with the initial, but I really like, but I'm only a member. So I'm not certified or anything through them, but to be a member and to have access to, really all you guys is amazing. And that's what I love about these people that are very open, very transparent. And that is important to me. Very important to me because again, as we know, and don't get any of us started on, you can go online and buy a service dog vest. You can fake the documents. And I see dog trainers out there in a dog park on a Saturday morning, and they have faked their documents. So, and again, I think the proof is in the pudding. And what I really like are referrals. I like to know somebody who knows somebody. How did that work out for you? So, having said that, tell me and tell us about Sherry Woodard Consulting. What in the world are you doing now? Tell me.
Well, I am doing consulting available all across the country. My website is going across the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing consulting virtual, but I am willing to travel as well. And I am doing consulting in person. So I'm helping as many people as I can in as many ways as I can. And it's going okay. I am growing my business here in Aztec, but also, like I said, I want to be everywhere. I want to help as many people as I can. I want to
And
I
you
want to
do,
be as
because
well known as possible.
well, you are. Trust me. Trust me, you are. And I don't say this lightly. If you go ahead and Google Sherry Woodard, you are going to come up with an amazing, amazing piece of history. Because Sherry, don't get me started. I'm one of your top fans, and we have known each other a long, long time. But you have done so much. You've not only done so much for the canine world. Tell me just a little itty bitty bit about Pahrump, Nevada. What was that?
Well, I spent 6 months living in Nevada during the Pahrump cat rescue, and there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cats at 2 different locations that were rescued there, and they needed a lot of help. So that
Was
was
that a
a
hoarding
big
situation? Hoarding?
it it ended up being, yes, a very big hoarding situation. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And much larger than we thought going in.
Well,
Yes.
I remember I thought that I heard a number back then, and it was something like 967, something like that. And here's what you told me. You said we had to quit counting somewhere. That's how many.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
wow. 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 So yeah, and so many of them were able to get rescued and rehabbed. And I've got my claim to fame there was one of the groomers, and I can't remember who it was, but the vets, they couldn't even examine the cats because some of them were so filthy and so matted and so so physically, needed to be cleansed, washed. And I remember a couple of the groomers said, we're not doing anything else until we get more BlackWing Farms drama trauma. And they called me and it was like, yeah, I'm sending a couple of cases. So, again, a shout out to whatever part we play. Mine was minuscule. Mine was, packing up some bottles and sending them on up. But I know that I was able to help in any way. And I think that's part of what you do and your rescue efforts. But the other thing is what I have to tell people about you. You're so inclusive. You don't exclude anybody. You don't, you listen to them until they're done talking. And you assess it. And then you say, okay, here's what I think, or here's what I would do, or here's what I don't understand. I've seen you do it time and time again. So thank you for listening. Seriously, it's so important for all of us.
Well, thank you. and your products are, as you know, on me. um,
Yeah.
so I am wearing them basically every day,
And
and that makes a huge difference in
look
my
what I
life.
pulled out. I swear I pulled out of my, I have a treat pack, fanny pack toolkit on my side, and I have a hammock blend in there. So, and hammock blend, I'll give a big shout out to the Humane Society of the United States. They rescued, it was very famous at the time. I know quite a few women who have the tattoo, and it says 367. And it was 367 fighting dogs that were rescued in the Southeast from a dog fighting ring. They had to be kept in, I say, kept in captivity. They had to be held for the court procedures for over a year. And the dogs, some of them never been indoors. And so they used hammock blend at nap time and at night. I love to hear that. I just love to hear that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to segue straight into what we want to talk about today: human body language and human body actions. Tell me why we're going to talk about that.
Well, pretty much all the time. It's something that we find ourselves working with and working on, helping people to understand the impact they're having themselves in what they're doing. So, helping people to make a make a better difference in what they're trying to do, or understand what's happening around them by what they're doing. So, teaching people, explaining to people how they're affecting the situations that they're in or they want to be in. And a lot of people just, they don't understand that by simply changing what they're doing, they can make a better impact. Or,
Give me an example. What do you kind of,
okay,
yeah.
okay. So, people moving too quickly,
Mm,
being too loud,
mm,
um, wearing perfume that is really,
mm-hmm,
really strong,
mm-hmm,
lotions that are really strong, um, and if they understood the animal's body language, to me, I watch the animals immediately have a reaction to either something they saw or something they smelled, and I can I can help translate. Um, are you wearing a strong perfume? I could often smell it myself. Um, Maybe try taking off your hat or your mirrored glasses. Um,
mm-hmm.
maybe
Yes, yes, mm-hmm,
maybe
yes.
stand a little more at an angle than completely forward toward the animal, because that might be
So
less frightening.
you're
Um,
saying not square shouldered. Don't come at them square
yes,
shouldered. Turn a little to the side. Get
yes,
softer and smaller,
yes.
possibly. Okay. So here's what, and I'm
Often.
not. Yeah. Oh, and what? Do that often? What?
Do it, yeah, do it often, yes.
Wow.
People, without even thinking, they square themselves back up, and they become
Oh,
more intimidating again.
yeah.
People, without thinking about it, they just, and I'm not even sure where it comes from, because I think for so long I have been doing the opposite. I have been trying to diffuse situations and trying to make animals more comfortable and less frightened, that I look across from me and I realize that they're back in a position that they were holding, and I need to help them again.
That is so
Um,
cute. So I've got to say something for the podcasters, because I'm watching you and you are lowering one shoulder, you're going to the side, you're dipping your chin, you're doing everything right. If I were a canine. The other thing is, and not to make a joke of it, but this is kind of like walking in and read the room. Read the room. Right, and that's yes,
yes,
and is the room threatening? Is this yeah, so I love that, and just the simple act of that, and often I hear the dog is afraid of men, and I'm like, well, let's break that down a little bit. What really is it? Is it the loud voice? Is it the broad shoulders? Is it the I'm coming at you from my chest? And often it is. It's not specifically a man thing. Okay, you're nodding. Yes, you've seen that
yes.
also? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I think too, the thing about language, but actions, I mean, it's also important how we look, how we talk, how we act, but our body language, again, the rest of the animal world, I think, is somewhere around 96, 97% without a language that they communicate with. They communicate through their bodies. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got the 3% as human beings, and we just want to wah, wah, wah. You know, I'm like a Peanuts cartoon strip to my dogs. Wah, wah. So yeah, but I think that when we change that, so I've got to give a shout out to Kyle Rayon in I think you've met Kyle Rayon in San Diego, and she is an amazing trainer. And I went one time to shadow her with shy dogs, and we were there, and she told me, she said, sit, have your, you know, the side to the dog, lower your chin, all that. And she said, I want you to blink slower. And I went, I'm sorry, I don't understand. And she said, blink slower. And so the dog walks in, and I think everything is right. And I'm blinking. And she went, no, slower, slower. So, you know, and that softened my whole body up. But that had a massive reaction to a dog. Now, I just got snapped at last week. Who's counting, right? I'm still remembering. But I got snapped at, and here's what happened. Here's what I did not see. I did not see that hard stare. I did not see that freeze. I saw a still dog with unblinking eyes. And I continued to lean in, and I got snapped at. So tell me about tell me what I missed. Tell me what some of us do miss in that moment.
Okay. Well, the moment was more than a moment, probably, because
Tell
before
me.
the dog
Yeah,
went
tell
still,
me.
it slowed down. So what you
Oh,
see before it goes still is that it slows down, and then it goes still, and then after it goes still, it actually freezes. So it all happens really
hang on,
fast.
go back.
But
Yeah, hang on, go back. So it was slow down, freeze,
yeah, and then it's still, and then
still.
it's freeze. So yeah, so to
Oh,
the dog,
oh,
it probably feels like it took forever.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it it happened pretty quickly. So
yeah.
what I tell people is sometimes to them, they did move an ear. So if we didn't notice that they moved an ear and that there was a bunch of tension held in their lips and between their eyes, they think they told us the whole story. They gave us
Mm,
plenty of warning. Why didn't we see
mm-hmm.
it? So it is in sometimes very small details. If we're paying attention, there's a pretty good chance that they tried to tell us some things, but there's also a pretty good chance that someone took that warning out of them. There's a pretty good chance that people have overridden the warning. Sorry, there's a dog eating something inappropriate. I'll be right back.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Okay, so again, read the
Okay.
room, right? Read the room. Was the dog eating your paperwork? Homework?
No, I made a mistake and left an Elizabethan collar on the floor that I need to return to someone. So, yeah, it was
How do
about to
they know?
be chewed
How
before it
do
goes
they
back to the
know?
clinic.
Yeah, yeah, they know. They know. All
They're
right.
good like
So
that. Yeah.
so we were, you know, we were within that nanosecond, because that whole engagement with that dog took about, because the dog was eating something. The dog was eating a paper towel that had some kind of food on it, had gotten in the garbage. And so I missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 5 seconds, a full 5 seconds to see it, reassess it, all of that. And you are right. So you said something about, he gave me all the information I needed in the first 2 seconds, and I missed it.
Well, and there probably could have been something that you gave back before. If you got a snap, you probably physically did something instead of verbally trying something. Did you try to
I
say
verbally,
something?
yeah, but I blew it. I blew everything. I verbally warned, I said, drop it. before I got there, and I was still walking towards him. And then when I walked
Okay.
towards him, I stopped. Yes. And then, yeah, but I had to retrieve what he had because I thought it would be very
However,
dangerous if he swallowed it. Go ahead.
yep. So this is, again, it's hard to always be prepared. But if we get into the habit of trying to always be prepared, we might even be able to fake it.
Tell
Faking
me
it would
about
have
that.
been
What do
if
you mean? What?
try to always have something better than what they have. But if
Oh,
you
shoot.
don't,
I missed that.
yeah,
Dang it.
if you don't have something better than what they have, sometimes you can fake it, and you can put something down and they will think they often have something better than what I have, and they're
Wow.
already in the habit of knowing how to drop it and trade.
There,
So
yes.
if it's a dangerous situation, you should be able, with most dogs, if they have an education, to fake it once in a while and then give them a rain check. So you get the dangerous item and give them something that doesn't have value, but you get away the dangerous item. And then as soon as you can, you get to the fridge, you get something like chicken or steak or cheese.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, what it does for us is it reminds us that we should always have something nearby that is chicken or steak or cheese or high value items that can be somewhere that are safe, that we can use in those times when we need to give them something that's safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so we can be prepared. Something that's, easy to get to, but also safe for them to ingest.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
So
there was an antler, his favorite antler was on the floor within 2 feet of us, and I did not even think of that. So yes, yes. I love this
yeah.
thing about language and actions because again, the other thing that I did do was I said, I'm going to come over, and I verbally told him what I was going to do. And I went over and I put my hands on the top of his snout. He was a long snouted dog. And it didn't matter that I said that.
So
It didn't matter.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
the probably better would have been let's go, and an action of you maybe doing a happy dance and leaving might have
Brilliant.
been, yeah. So
Ah,
some other options to try would be, something better could have been either you have something better or you're going to do something better may have worked to get
oh
him to
my
leave something that
God.
had the smell of food but actually wasn't food, but
Yeah.
something to
Yeah. Yeah.
try.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. The next shiny thing. Create
Yeah.
it if you have to, but that
Yep.
happy dance
I
and leave backwards. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I used the
Yeah.
rain check the other night and I didn't have even an item, but my dog had a dead lizard. And again, probably not the end of the world if she actually did something with it, but she has this really good habit of bringing me things. So she brought me the lizard, and I asked her to drop it and she dropped it. Normally, if I had treats on me, immediately she would get treated for giving me anything, and that's why she brings them to me.
Mhm.
So she gave me the lizard and I said rain check, which I want to have her totally get the idea that that means, like, the moment that I do have something other than an empty treat bag, I will give her something, but instead made it play and headed back for the car so that she could get something better.
I
But
love it. So rain check, you
once
actually use that word? Yeah.
Yeah, and once in a while, it's like, so you do a happy dance and you head to the car and you get whatever the item is, which in this case, it was a big jerky lizard.
So happy,
So,
big jerky
yes,
lizard. But so happy dance. Okay, so help me out. What was his name? He founded APDT, and that's who I know the happy dance from. You know who I'm talking about? Oh my gosh,
Ian,
it was just Ian
what are
Dunbar.
you thinking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ian Dunbar. And the first time, I'm sorry, but the first time I saw an adult male from England doing the happy dance, and he was like, but wait, here's what he was. He was wiggle wag body. He was a happy happy
Yes.
guy, and he was dancing backwards. Like, come on, let's play.
Yes.
And so again, we go to the jumpy thing. That's not when you want to do the happy dance. You don't want to do the happy dance with a jumpy dog, because that's game on. I'm backing away. I'm having a good time. Jump on me. But you know, the
Yes.
happy dance, I love that. And it works with many species, because again, you know, it's kind of like,
Yes.
why are you so happy? What do you have that I don't have? The next shiny thing.
Yes. So the other night she was I had a couple of dogs, one dragging a big long line because I'm working with her and she still is on a line. And my dog was out with them. There was a chihuahua, long-haired chihuahua, and they were near a pond with all kinds of vegetation. So I couldn't see every bit of the ground. But I'm pretty sure they encountered a snake because I saw my dog do a jump up and back. And I immediately said, leave it. But then I also said, let's go. And I said, turning. And I ran off so that they would all turn and they would all come with me, which they
Yep.
all did.
And
So
yeah.
that whatever you do has to compete with the environment and something as exciting as whatever might be out there. And it could be something like that. It could be something that could be dangerous. But the fact that if you make whatever you're doing exciting enough, and they get the idea that you might also have a reward with you, that you might dispense like a Pez dispenser if they get to you, they're going to leave it. They're going to come and follow you.
And
So
again, you know,
again,
keeping them what, hun? Keeping them what?
keeping them focused, keeping them safe, keeping them happy, doing whatever it takes. But sometimes it's using your body language to do what's needed to
Perfect. And this
but
is
knowing how to use your body language as well.
Now, this is the biggest thing that I ever hear from people nowadays. And we talk about stranger danger. We've talked about that a lot. I'm trying to write a full article on it, and I've just got too much information. And for right now, which is a great problem for a writer. However, stranger danger is so prevalent right now. And what my first problem that I finally get down to with people is when they go for a walk, and a lot of people are walking less because of this problem. A lot of people are encountering leash pulling. So for an inappropriate meet and greet, or for, you know, I'm going to get you, or I'm going to get you before, or it's pulling, let's go back to the house. I'm freaked out by this environment. So it's leash pulling in either direction. But what I hear about, is there a simple solution to keep everybody safe, or what do you find that works in this regard? You're out on the street and your dog is pulling. What do we do?
Well, I try to set up a lot of different sessions in places where you can see what's coming.
Okay,
So
good.
work in parking lots, drive your dog to places where you can see who's going to be coming. You have a bit of space. Again, I think the old fallback, sometimes pick times when there are less people out. I'm often early mornings and into the evenings. I didn't get home last night until 10 o'clock because I was working with one of my clients who has a scared dog. That's the dog that's out on the line still. And we're working in a field, but in the beginning, it's like if you step on a stick, you know, the stick is going to send the dog off scared.
Mhm.
The sound of people has been terrifying, but just setting up every situation you can to try and think of everything that might happen. And then what I'm doing, take a dog that's made more progress so you have a role model dog. In her case, we're using 2 role model dogs. So we have a bunch of confidence there with dogs that are happy to be out and enjoying themselves, so that if something frightens her, she could look to them immediately and see that they're fine. So the recovery is right there. We may move a bit, but we can calm down and get back into being fine in, minutes, seconds. It's getting better and better. Make the car a safe spot. Practice, start at home, start in the house, then start in the driveway, then start in the car. Baby steps, yes, but all of it can happen pretty quickly if you do enough with your sessions. And then drive around and pick out places in advance and do your work, and find some people to work with you that can help with role model dogs that are already comfortable. And I was talking about, using your family members and your volunteers and people in parks. And I'll go walk in the park and talk to people that have nice dogs and ask, just really nice people if they're willing to help. And that was I talk to strangers.
Oh, right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes, it may be a scary time, but you could stand 6 feet away from people and say, hi, is your dog friendly? And if your dog's friendly, can, you just stand there for a minute while I walk by with my dog, because my dog's at a point where I might just need a nice, friendly dog to walk by so that my dog has a great time today. So explaining things to people and just asking for a little help. I'll be way over there as I walk by and my dog just sees that your dog is just standing here wagging. That's explaining things and setting up good scenarios.
That is
and not
massively
expecting
important.
not expecting too much, but
what?
also
Okay.
not expecting
lower your
too much.
expectations. Yeah, right. Lower them.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I went out with a client the other night and I said, we're going to meet at a little restaurant, but we're not going to order anything. We're there just to focus on the dogs. I'll be getting there first. We're just going to go out. We're going to go to a table. We're going to see how the dogs do just, getting there, getting to the table. If everything's fine, we're going to sit there, take a breath. And if it goes fine, then we could sit there for a little bit. If it doesn't, that's the entire evening. So don't have, we're going to sit there for 15 minutes. I'm going to drink my soda or I'm going to have a meal. It's like, no, we're going to see how it goes. It's not a timed event. We're going to be flexible with how the dog is feeling. So
I love that. I'm laughing out loud. Training is not a timed event. Oh, Sherry, that's brilliant. Okay, go on. Yeah, we can work up to that, but oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, so this is not barrel racing in under 14 seconds. This is
well,
getting the horse
you might get there, but
yeah. But we've
seriously, it's like,
But
are you going to order a meal and expect the dog to stay? It's like, if your dog's not feeling it, you're not going to be able to stay. So
oh my gosh, exactly. Yeah. How many events? And I love my horses and I spent 50 years with them. But the horses, sometimes, my horse, literally just hung out at the trailer all day. He just couldn't handle anything else. He couldn't handle the arena. He couldn't handle sidewalking. He couldn't handle anything else. So, and that's what he got to do. So I am writing that down right now. I have my pen out. Training is not a timed event. Oh my gosh. If we, just again, take a page out of Sherry Woodard's training book. Okay. So training is not a timed event. That's fabulous. I've heard from people, many different trainers. If you plan on a half-hour walk and it takes your dog 25 minutes to get out the front door, that's your walk. That's it. You might have a 5-minute walk. Right. Exactly. Libby Kowalczyk from Rancho Coastal Humane. She is a great proponent of that. And, if your dog's not having a good time, make it a good time. Make him safe. That's the other thing, Jennifer King from North Carolina told me just last week, they don't play if they don't feel safe. And that makes so much sense. I see babies do that all the time. I'm a grandmother. So, I see children doing that. I see dogs, cats. Cats won't play if they're freaked out by something. Or, our Corgi Chihuahua cannot play in a monsoon. Just cannot. And it's not only the noises, et cetera, because we've helped a lot with the Brave Balm and the Drama Trauma, but it's the barometric pressure. So it's things that I can't even see. that are affecting the dog. It could be a sound, a high pitch from way off in the middle of nowhere. I've worked with research animals, and you know, getting them to feel safe in a research lab is dang near impossible, because I don't understand that heart vibration that's going on for them. I don't understand. It's like, well, I'm afraid to go to the vets. You know, my dog is saying, I'm afraid of the vets. Well, yeah, because of those smells and because of those procedures, and you know, it's a foreign environment. So yeah, so I think
Yes.
that play. We talked about Kim Brophy before we got on today, and you know, Kim getting on the floor and playing literally. But then we talked about that might work for, you know, a border collie, but I don't think it's going to work for an Irish wolfhound.
Well, and yeah, for a lot of dogs, it's like it may take a dog quite a while to understand play or be ready for play. And some dogs we meet and they're dying for someone to ask them to play. So again, seeing every dog as an individual, no matter what their breed might look like.
Yeah,
Yes.
and again, yes, perfect. And again, going back to that leash pulling, because again, it could be, you know, it can be the opportunity, and it can be the opportunity to read your dog, read that language, and understand that the dog is not saying, I want to play, or I want to fight, or I want to run away. Yes, or it
Yeah.
could be, yeah. Go ahead.
Am I excited or
Mm.
am I frustrated or
Mm-hmm.
am I lacking skills? I mean, there's so many reasons that people often, I think, mislabel. So
As
a
I
lot of
did, as I
people
did
will,
with that, yeah, with that standard
yeah,
last week. So,
yeah.
so tell me what people can look for in that moment. What can they look for in their dog or the other dog in that moment to know that it is play, or it is a little bit of game on?
Well, I think it can be confusing because even the dogs can be confused. I think
Mm,
things can they can definitely they can emotionally start having a tough time when they want to play and time again they don't get to play. So they can become frustrated when that they want what they wanted to do was play and they just don't get to do it. So you have some dogs that are out there that every day they want to play with other dogs, but ultimately, 3 weeks after going out on walks and not being able to have a playmate, they start showing some signs of frustration, which are coming across as not a loose, wiggly body. A loose, wiggly body would be asking for play, but you might see some more threatening behavior, a dog that's actually lunging forward and kind of snapping their mouth and looking like if they get to the other dog, they're going to make some bad decisions
mm-hmm,
because they're frustrated.
mm-hmm.
And then you might think, oh, if they actually do get there, what's going to happen? And if in fact some of them do get there, again, if it's been a while since they've been around another dog, we might need to have some help for those people so that nothing bad happens.
The other thing that I find
That's
lately, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
the
That's
the other thing
what
that
have
I
you
find
been?
lately is that people are comparing this dog to their last dog. And again, they
I
go,
think
"Oh,
that
well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this is my fifth border collie. I know border collies." Yeah, but you don't know this border collie.
or even to a different type of dog. People saying, well, this dog is nothing like the other dog. And it's like, well, the other dog's a bulldog and this one's a golden retriever. It's like they're not going to be the same. They're going to
Mhm.
be very different. And that's
Mhm.
a good thing. They're
Yes.
they're very different in wonderful ways, and they're
Yes.
both precious. But yes, they're
Yes.
going to have different energy. They're going to have different styles.
And again, when we don't have their full resume, we don't know what happened the first 3 months, the last 3 months. We don't know exactly what the animal, what memories they're bringing to this party. That no, I don't like to sit in grass. I don't like to sniff the trees, whatever. So and nobody's going to come up behind me and sniff me. So we don't know what they've been through, and all we can do is kind of sort of guess sometimes. So again, let me go back just really fast to flower essences, and we have, oh my gosh, because we've met on a few disaster lines. And, I missed you at the last California fires, but we've both been on our own fire lines, our own disaster lines, et cetera. And what I find there is those are my best teachers. Those animals are my best teachers. They will maybe freeze, but they're saying, I'm waiting for you to pick me up. I'm waiting for you to pick me up. So that kind of action, but that whole complex issue right there. But again, whether it's on the end of the leash in the neighborhood or, being cared for by strangers after a disaster. So here's what I love. Star of Bethlehem is probably my number one go-to flower essence in the whole wide world. It is for emotional shock. And it can actually take us back to that moment when the shock occurred. And then we've got a chance to re-examine, not necessarily relive, but reprocess that memory. And then we can create a different learning that came from that event. Star tulip for grounding. Star tulip is just a wonderful, all tulips and all orchids are wonderful for grounding. Arnica, as we know, Arnica montana has gotten so popular in the last 20 years. And Arnica montana and impatience are so wonderful for restlessness and impulsivity. Then rock rose for bravery, because a lot of times, hey, I've never been in this situation, but I'm going to act brave. I think that's really important. That's rock rose. And then clematis or clematis, I'm self-taught, so I don't know all the names, all the pronunciations. But clematis for positive focus. It's a very beautiful wispy flower. It's all pastels and just gorgeous, but it's very wispy. And it's hard for you to be able to even focus on this flower and its color. But this flower is for positive focus. And so often when in a tragedy or in a confusing event, a difficult time, they don't know what to focus on. There's nothing safe right now. So let me find within myself something positive. So I'm just, as you know, I'm just such a nerd about the flower essences too. We were definitely always the last house on the block. This is 30 years ago with the horse training. We were the last house on the block, and my son used to call our horse ranch, the buck stops here. Yeah, because if we couldn't help them, they had already been to 7 facilities or 7 trainers or whatever. The horses weren't getting any better. And we just kind of slowed everything down. As you said in the beginning, we slowed everything down and said, what is it that you need? How can I read your language? So, yeah. So, all right. Well, listen, honey, we have talked and talked. Are there any tell me, in a perfect world, what would you like to give a shout out about or address? What we talked about environmental management and all kinds of things. What are you thinking?
Well, I think I really want to applaud everyone that is helping and helping other people and continuing during these times when there are so many people that sound like they're depressed, they're having a hard time, they're struggling, but they're still not only working with their own animals, they're helping more animals. So people that are working together and still connecting to more people and connecting to more animals and building bigger teams, stronger teams. I think that there are some tough things that are happening right now, and I keep hearing about people that are getting sick, and I think a lot of people are talking about, I just want this time to be over. I don't think we're living in a time when we could say it's just going to be over. I think this is part of life now. So we'll probably continue to hear about people that are sick for a while. And we just need to support each other. But that's part of our world now. And reaching out like this and talking and sharing and understanding, trying to be as compassionate and understanding as we can, I think it's really, really healthy and helpful. And knowing that, and my son helps me often to remember that most of the people that I talk to almost daily are people that have been doing this for a long time. The me's and you's. So when I say something about, so-and-so, my new client didn't know this, he's like, that's because most of the public doesn't. So bringing it back to that, most of the public are still, they're people that have maybe had a few pets. So remembering that we take it back to the basics, and that we help people with that, is that they're still learning and they don't know a lot of the basics, and that we explain it really well, and we're really nice about it as we do it. Because I think that part of being kind is still really important, even when sometimes I look at things and it's like, that seems like common sense. But really, I think to people who have never done it before, or maybe done it twice in a lifetime, it isn't common sense. It's still something new. So I think when it comes to body language, or it comes to remembering to set up scenarios, or thinking of where to go to set up scenarios, all of those things are something that people still need help with. It may make perfect sense to us to create situations where the animals feel safe, but it doesn't make complete sense to other people. So help them, and they'll think it looks like magic, and they'll tell their family and friends. So we're spreading what they think is magic, and we're helping more and more people and more animals, and we're showing them that it happens fast. Again, when so much of this can be changes brought about by just simply showing that you can build wonderful relationships and build trust with animals by doing what we love to do, opening our hearts and giving, presenting ourselves and teaching and translating, I think is what we do a lot of, explaining. We just need to keep doing it.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful, Sherry. Thank you so much. And, on that, I've got nothing other than to say, anybody who could possibly want or need some kind compassion, some help, call Sherry. She is so available and so magical herself, and just for the people, and for the dogs. That is the cutest dog I've ever seen. And so what we're telling him is SherryWoodardConsulting.com. Go to it and give Sherry a call, send her an email. She is completely available and accessible to all of us. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you for being you. Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
All right. See you later, babe. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
You've been listening to Animals Inside Out, brought to you by BlackWing Farms. If you know anyone who could benefit from today's episode, please consider sharing it. Also, if you want to learn more about BlackWing Farms and the incredible natural remedies for mental, physical, and emotional needs of animals, go to blackwingfarms.com and enter Animals Inside Out for 10% off your next purchase. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, and we'll see you in the next episode.